Good
And that's
morning.
at Power Nerd, actually. So hey there, buddy.
Okay, just started the recording. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our blab, or good afternoon, as the case may be, wherever you might be watching this from, and welcome to those that are watching this on replay. Glad to have you, and we've got a wonderful guest today, and a subject that I'm learning about and learning a lot more about, really getting up to speed quickly. I think it's medical marijuana, cannabis, in particular CBD, which is a cannabinoid, is what we're going to be focusing on today with our guest, Don Peacock Owens, who works for actually two, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Don, but actually two different cannabis companies. You have your own company, My CBD Care.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then
it's cannabidiol, CBD, so cannabidiol companies, which is, of course, part of the cannabis family. I'm a wholesaler and work for a grow/extract/ producer with products and a whole lot of products. But I also have a company with my son, mycbdcare.com, which is retail.
Okay, and the grow company that also is a lab and makes their own products and everything is Ambry Gardens. Is that, saying that
yes,
correct?
It is.
And
yes.
we'll put that up also, so people can go to check out that website. Very informative website, by the way. Did some of my research there, getting ready for this blab today. So again, just since we're starting out, my name is Mike Warren. I'm with Alternative Health Concepts, as you can see right underneath my name or my picture. And go to our website and check out some awesome information. You can learn all kinds of things about alternative health and different ways that you can help your body heal itself. That's what we're all about. And that's one reason I'm so excited about our subject today, because CBD, which is a cannabinoid of the marijuana plant, or the cannabis plant as it's properly termed, is just making some great strides. There's wonderful scientific research coming out now, all pointing to the benefits and the efficacy of CBD oil, and different. We'll get into those different areas in a little bit, but that's one of the reasons we're having this lab today, so we can get people educated on medicinal marijuana, cannabis as we like to call it, because that's the proper term, and in particularly CBD, which now is legal in all 50 states here in the United States if it has 0 THC, and we'll get into that and how you can differentiate and find out and make sure you're getting a good quality product if that's something that you would like to try for yourself. Beneath me on today's blab is Dr. Wayne Dorban. He's my partner. He does all our marketing for Alternative Health Concepts, and just a great wealth of knowledge. And Wayne, introduce yourself.
Well, you did a nice job. We do marketing for a variety of different companies that are in the make the planet better space, and I have the great privilege of having had about almost 2-year relationship with Dawn now, and having had her work with me for a time, and so I'm excited to be able to listen to her. She's got her own live cast that she does now regularly with CBD Care and with her company, and she's just awesome. So it's going to be fun.
Don, go over to you now, our featured guest, and it's kind of nice to have you this way. I've been on several blabs with you, and you jump on blabs all the time, and it's a great platform to learn about, and I've learned so much just in the little time we've shared and a few phone calls. But start us off. Tell us your story. Tell us why you're here. Obviously, there's a reason that you fell into the cannabis industry, and I know bookkeeping, you've done a lot of different things, probably like most of us in your life, but what got you to this point where you're at today?
Well, I have a very rare genetic disease called Neil Patella syndrome. And because of that, we're not allowed to take opiates or NSAIDs. It's very limited to what we can do for our bodies when it comes to treating pain. And so And part of that is one of the main reasons of that is because of I think it's the LMX1B gene that is the one that's affected in our body, and that has to do with the formation of different parts, different anatomy. But a big part of it is that 3 out of 5 will end up with kidney failure. So we have to really guard our kidneys. And so I've been, no, I'm not throwing the ball. I've been
Those of you
working
that don't know,
with,
Dawn's cat's on the show with us today. She's not talking to a ghost.
actually,
Oh, that was your
that
dog.
was my
Okay.
dog. Yeah, that was a dog. But so I got approved for a medical marijuana license about 10 years ago with Dr. Shackelford. Dr. Shackelford is, you probably saw him if you ever watched the
Yes.
Weeds program
Yeah.
with Sanjay Gupta.
Okay.
He was on there a few years ago. So I've known him for about 10 years, and he had wanted me to start on that for my asthma. And I was like, that just doesn't sound right. Why would smoking help my asthma? Well, I have to say that finally, a week ago, I started using the CBD concentrate, which we've talked about before, regularly every day, because I found out that I'm allergic to coconut, and there's organic coconut oil in some of our products, and so my eyes were all poofy and everything for the last 2 months. So now I'm just vaporizing the concentrate, and I have not used my inhaler
Wonderful.
in over a week. And I've been on asthma medicine since I was a toddler. And just a few years ago, I was on the 500 strength, the highest strength you could have of Advair. And so, but I've been working, studying cannabinoids for actually medical marijuana, and now just cannabidiol for a very long time, because the alternative of so many of the medications out there is taking the medication can be more harmful than having the actual disease. So one of the side effects of asthma medication, of Advair specifically, is a 50% increase of your risk of having a fatal asthma attack.
Amazing. And I suffered from the same symptoms since I was a baby. Same thing. I had childhood asthma.
And see, yeah, and that's what's so great, is that there are alternatives. There's the BioPlus, there's the CBD, there's so many things out there for people to explore and see what resonates with them and their body to help heal themselves, rather than
Okay, take a minute, Dawn, and just in the short version, tell us the difference. Most of us have heard of marijuana, I would think, cannabis, and we always take it into the realm of a psychoactive drug. It's labeled as a Schedule I drug, I believe, still by our federal government here in the States, and hopefully not much longer. But tell us the difference. So the THC is a cannabinoid, which is in marijuana. Is that correct?
Right. So you've got the cannabis plant. Now, inside the cannabis plant, you've got over 100 different cannabinoids. I mean, or at least there's at least 80 cannabinoids, but they're still really dialing it down. THC is one of the cannabinoids, and THC is psychoactive. THC reacts mostly with the CB1 receptors in your brain. There's a couple CB1 receptors around your body, but the majority of the CB1 receptors, which link up with the THC, are in your brain, and that leads to the psychoactive part of the
high, the getting high, that we all hear about.
Yeah, of that molecule. But one of the other cannabinoids in the cannabis plant is CBD, which is completely non-psychoactive. It is, in fact, so initially, out in nature, the CBD to THC ratio would be like a 1-to-1 type of deal, because for example, with the THC, with the high, if you wanted to bring someone down from a high, you could give them CBD, and that would balance them out. And so, actually, we are working on. I understand we're working on creating just some a different format of selling CBD to people, just so that they could have like a security thing in case somebody needed that antidote to the THC to bring people down. So in nature, originally, it was really more of a 1-to-1. Now it's with the dispensaries and stuff, you've got more like 120 THC to 1 CBD. Well, not that extreme, but I mean, because it's hard to get the CBD that low. But you have a very distant relationship between the THC and the CBD. And of course, in our company, we do the exact opposite. Preferably medically, in a lot of cases, like, for example, cancer, well, definitely cancer, you really want that 1-to-1 ratio. And when you combine the two, you don't have as much of the high. But if you go, of course, with straight CBD, you'll have no high. But specifically with cancer and the very, very serious diseases, we really recommend a 1-to-1 with THC and CBD. It's easy to get the high THC, real easy at any dispensary. Really hard to get the high CBD. Unless you're getting, and you got to worry about where it's coming from.
And we'll get into that in a minute. But you just mentioned something, going to a dispensary, for example. Not all of us in the United States, in fact, the vast majority don't have that luxury. I happen to be in California, you're in Colorado, both of which have medical marijuana laws in place, which make it very nice and convenient for those of us that choose to go that route and to use this. Really, it's a medicine, and it's probably one of the oldest medicines that we know of. But so what about those people now? So now we've got most of the United States, they've all heard about medical marijuana, but in most cases, they aren't able to access it legally. What about that with just the legal part, the kind that your company, Ambry Farms, makes, that is legal in all 50 states, which is CBD only? There might be some other cannabinoids in there, but as far as the THC, there isn't any, which you won't get the high effect.
Right.
You still get the medicinal effects from just the CBD alone.
Yes, you do. Yeah, and there's so many studies out there. There are a lot of studies out there. There's a lot of studies going both ways. And so, there's studies saying that CBD only kills cancer. There's studies that say THC only kills cancer. The optimal is really a 1-to-1 because they work well together. There's you hear the term full spectrum or entourage effect, and that has to do with having access to all of the cannabinoids in the plant, whether it's a small percentage of it or a large percentage. But it's important to be able to, if you can, use all of them. But if you can't, then the CBD does have a benefit, because a lot of diseases are caused by if you research it, you'll see that a lot of diseases are now being identified, especially autoimmune diseases, by an imbalance in their endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is directly linked to the immune system. And so just like with BioPlus, your stuff works directly with the immune system.
That's what it is. It's an immune modulator.
Yeah, exactly. And so the immune system and the endocannabinoid system are linked. So by boosting that endocannabinoid system, even with CBD alone, if you don't have access to THC, you are helping your body. From what Dr. Wu out of Canada was explaining, is the way that THC works with cancer is it cuts off the supply. It cuts off the nutrients to those cells. It starves them. The way that CBD works with the cancer cells is the cancer cells explode with the CBD, with high concentrations of CBD. So by combining the two, you could see how just the 1-2 punch.
You're freezing up a little bit. I don't know if it's just me, or were you seeing that, Wayne?
THC and cannabinoid is a 1-2.
We lost you.
Okay. You're coming in and out.
Now I see you freezing
Dawn.
up.
I'm not sure if that's everybody's here. Yeah, somebody else noticed it. Huh? No, it was the first time I did it. You're fine now. Let's keep it.
Maybe I should go inside.
Real quickly, because you've touched on some areas that we haven't really explained, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know. Talk a little bit about what the endocannabinoid system actually is within our body. That's an important point.
Well, so we have all sorts of different systems in our body. We've got the nervous system, we've got the endocannabinoid system, we've got the immune system. I'm not an anatomy person, but it's just it's a way of processing certain, like oh gosh, how do I say it? I think the best way to talk about it, and truly, there are better people to talk about the endocannabinoid system and how it, like the structure of it. But it's another balance point in your system.
Don, can I
jump
in real quick?
So
I want to just, if you guys will indulge me, those listening, if I can just read a couple real quick paragraphs about what is the endocannabinoid system, it may help. And so let me go into that real quick. Just read this. It says the endogenous cannabinoid system, named after the plant that led to its discovery, is perhaps the most important physiologic system involved in establishing and maintaining human health. Endocannabinoids and the receptors are found throughout the body, in the brain, organs, connective tissues, glands, and immune cells. In each tissue, the cannabinoid system performs different tasks, but the goal is always the same: homeostasis, the maintenance of a stable internal environment despite fluctuations in the external environment. And so that kind of says it in a roundabout way, but it's pretty precise that all our organs and all tissues in our body have these receptors that cannabinoids can attach to, and they can help promote homeostasis in our body, which is mainly just,
So you've got this. Yeah, so you've got the CB1 receptors in your brain that are mostly THC and a couple CB1s in your body. You've got the CB2 receptors, which are mostly in your body with a few in the brain, which link up to the CBDs with the cannabidiol. And so that's why when you get to that homeostasis with the endocannabinoid system, you'll find that all sorts of things are improved. Just because when your body, like if you were lacking vitamin D, your body would show you that in a bunch of different ways. When you're lacking cannabinoids, it shows it in a bunch of different ways. A lot of times you'll get the psoriasis, the eczema, dermatitis, so it shows on your skin. You'll have asthma problems, so in your lungs. It's really good with liver. There's just so many different ways. Also, migraines, because you do have them you have CB2 in your brain, and also they are finding that cannabidiol is crossing over into CB1 receptors in addition to the CB2 receptors. So it's when you're out of balance, your body's going to show it in a bunch of different ways. But the fact that you've got these receptors all over your body gives you a great opportunity to be able to boost your health. And I think you'll find, as I did, that it'll help you in ways that you just never even realized that it could. Like, for example, on our podcast tonight. Oh, so we have a podcast starting tonight on cbdtalkpodcast.com, and it's going to be 7:00 Mountain Time. So the first half hour is the interview. The second half hour is question and answers. And Harley, my buddy Harley, is the host of that. But in the Q&A, we'll probably have Jenny Gold on there and talking about how the CBD has just completely changed her life when it comes to Lyme disease. And we didn't know that CBD was going to help Lyme disease, but she tried it. She said, I got to try something. It's killing me. And the thing is when you have really sick people that get better at a rapid pace, it changes their lives, they are rabid fans, and it is hard to hold them back. And we're like, just chill. She's calling newspapers, she's calling TV stations. We're like, no, just relax. We know you're excited. This can help so many people. It's okay. Just take your time. People aren't going to take you seriously when you are running around frothing at the mouth because you're so excited because you're healthy. And unfortunately, that's how we have to make sure that people don't
Well, and
over
it's not a matter of,
promise
I
things.
found
Yes,
that
it worked
to
in her
me, it's not
body,
a matter of over
and we're
promising,
thrilled for her.
because it's one of those things that it is an alternative form of medicine. It's not widely, if at all, accepted in the traditional medical or allopathic world yet. I believe it's shifting. I think things are shifting quickly. We're getting a lot more research going in that direction. In your friend there that with the Lyme disease, because I actually have a customer of ours that uses our product BioPro Plus, which you can find more about on our website, but they are using it for Lyme disease, and it's helping. But I would like to, and the way I view most chronic disease is that it's kind of a big jigsaw puzzle. There's not one magic bullet when you talk about cancer or even Lyme disease, which is a very serious thing. You have to put a lot of different pieces of that puzzle together to
Exactly.
make or get your body to homeostasis into that normal state again. So did she use just the CBD only, or do you know if she used a combination? And what kind of results
She just used the
what kind of
CBD
time
only.
frame did it take? Was it months
So,
before she noticed anything, or was it right away? Amazing. Yeah. And that's what I've heard, which are
no,
really,
it was
it's
within a
pretty
week.
exciting actually, with what's
So,
going on with this product. Okay. And so
that's with the high quantities of CBD. You know,
and
that's a therapeutic dose. That's not, just putting some lotion on you. But the thing is like you said, I mean, we have to be careful, first of all, because the FDA is ridiculous. But I understand their point also. The problem that they have is the FDA is really tuned into single molecules. When you have something like cannabis with so many cannabinoids, they don't like the combination of CBD, CBDA, CBDN, or CBN. They don't. That just gets like blah. They just want one thing that does something. So it's confusing to them. So we have to be careful what we say. But also, the problem that can arise is someone saying, "This cured me. It's going to cure you." Blah blah blah. It's like, no, this cured you. That's awesome. That doesn't mean it's going to cure the next person. We can't just, we really have to go with science. And truly, they are working very diligently on the Schedule 1
what do you think? What's your personal
rescheduling.
feeling? Because you're
And I
much more
believe
in
that
tune
by the end of the year, we're going to
than
see
me. What
that
do
go
you, are
away.
they going to reschedule it? Or are they going to take it off the board completely, or what do you think is going to happen?
I think they're going to reschedule it. I don't think they're going to take it off the board completely because of the THC. Now the Industrial Hemp Association is working very hard to get the definition of cannabis altered so that it specifically states that it does not include CBD. That CBD is going to be reclassified as industrial hemp because of the low percentage of THC. And so they've been lobbying and stuff. If you go to the Industrial Hemp Association website, you can find information on the federal bill and, call your congressman type of deal, which I've done, of course. So by doing that, by removing it out of that Schedule 1, that's one way of getting those studies to be funded more easily. I know that right now, actually, Dr. Daniele Pimelli is going to be on our podcast. Remember, I'd emailed you about him from the National Institute of Health Symposium. He's not going to be able to do it until the fall because he is just slammed right now with writing grant requests. But I do believe that it's going to be rescheduled. I think it's going to go to a Schedule 2, but I think that in the meantime, there's a possibility that CBD is going to be completely removed from the the legal definition, so that it can do its own thing. Because by using the industrial hemp plant, and so the industrial hemp plant, it's a lot of you might think of the tall stalks, that gets turned into paper and such. That is one part of the industrial hemp plant genus. The other is actually more like the exact marijuana plants that you're used to seeing, but the The presence of THC is less than 0.3% in those plants. It's been bred down. So like you would have heard for that, like with the Charlotte's Web type of deal. So
I
that
think
is
that's
also
another
considered
problem, if you will,
industrial hemp
that is
because
in
of
this
the low
industry right
amount
now,
of
because
THC.
it's not regulated. We have all different kinds of products flooding the market because the CBD is quote unquote okay for in every state to be sold. And there's a lot of, pardon my English, but a lot of crap. It's just crap on the market. So how do you differentiate? I guess you just try and pick and choose your, do the best research you can. Is there a way to know the source of the CBD product itself, or the?
Well, if it's being sold nationwide, then up until just recently, it would be considered an isolate, which means it would, and that it came from overseas. Now, and that you have to be very careful with. You really do, because you can get it from countries like China where there's a lot of heavy metal problems, and that's just not a safe thing. Now they are actually bringing in, which is amazing, but the DEA got involved and was able to do it. So now they're bringing in full spectrum from overseas also. But still, within state lines, you're not allowed to cross. So like within the state of Colorado, anything grown in Colorado can't cross outside those state lines. Now we have some arrangements where we work with the Department of Agriculture very closely, and there's some way that there are some states that we're going to be able to work with as their hemp programs come up to speed. But so fortunately, with the full spectrum, you're actually getting all of those other cannabinoids. You know, you're getting that whole entourage, that whole everything in there that will really boost your cannabinoid without the THC, and that's the hard part.
So actually,
the THC
Teresa over in the right wrote,
a plant that, you know, out
is
of
the
a product
THC
that comes
removed
up with, but it's
or not in the hemp plant sourced? So
it depends. It depends. Like in ours, it's not in the hemp plant. I mean, there's a very low amount, and you know exactly when to harvest to prevent the THC from growing in the plant. If you leave a regular strain, you know, like a high CBD plant, and let it grow and grow and grow, if you don't harvest it at the right time, the THC can present itself, and you can get up to like a 5% THC. So you have to know that. Now, over some of the stuff that's coming over from overseas as a full spectrum is having higher
what do you do with that? You
concentration
do
of
take it out.
THC than really should be in there. And so we have to strip it out. Yes, we strip it out because it's not legal. It shouldn't even be here. And so we take it out. We distill it. We get rid of it. We process it. We make that THC go away.
So you do that. You do all those studies before,
and for us to sell it would be illegal.
You obviously put it out to market. There's all kinds of testing that goes on.
Oh yeah. Everything we get, we test like crazy. There's a testing facility in Denver. There's a state testing facility in Denver. There's also Empirica and there's several testing facilities. But even the state testing, what we got a reward. Actually, we've won 2 awards now off of our concentrate, and both coming in at 0 THC. And even the state tested at 0 THC. So it's not easy to do, but we find it's very important. Also for people who work in an industry that has drug testing.
Yeah.
You're gonna risk. It's really pathetic that you have to choose a job over health. But for those who absolutely cannot have THC in their system, or if they're on probation or something like that, it's a good way to.
That's the point. The CBD alone still works.
Have a way to boost that endocannabinoid system without having
something that, if you're stuck and you've tried everything else, it may be a good alternative for you to try and give a shot of.
Yes. Of course, best thing is 1-to-1 THC
now,
CBD.
I want to, if it's okay with you, we're right at the half hour, and normally we open up the room to questions. If any of you have questions, I see that power. I hate the way they do this. Go ahead, Wayne.
Mike and Don, real quick, just from a biologist perspective, just to give a little clarification on the differences between industrial hemp and marijuana. It is the same species. It's this exact same species of plant, just like a German Shepherd and a Chihuahua are both the same species.
Okay.
And over time, we have evolved a difference in the dogs between a Chihuahua and a German Shepherd fairly quickly, by the way. So we're not talking eons of time. The same thing has happened with industrial hemp. The native cannabis that would have been growing probably 1,000 years ago, so it's a little longer probably than it has been with dogs, would have probably looked a lot more like what we would call marijuana today. So it would have elevated levels of THC as well as CBD. Over time, people started to realize we can do a little separate breeding and we can end up with a plant that has less THC, more CBD, because there are people that frankly don't like the psychotropic side of it, as well as Don said, some of them can't, there's an allergic reaction or some kind of a medical response that they would have in a negative way. And so in the industrial hemp industry right now, there's more and more moves to try to even improve breeding more. So there's a lot of genetic research and a lot of genetic work being done on industrial hemp to do more and more to reduce levels of THC. And then one last thing, Don was exactly right. What happens almost always now with industrial hemp is if you let it mature too long, it will have above 0.3% of THC. And that's a real problem, because if you have a industrial hemp permitting, or if you're permitted, you're licensed wherever in the country, and you have more than 0.3, you have to burn your crop in the field. And obviously you lose everything. So they're being really careful to try to make sure that their plants don't have elevated levels.
Nice.
And additionally, a lot of times you'll see the 70. Okay, so like Mike said,
And additionally, a lot of times you'll see the 70. Okay, so like Mike said, there's a lot of different varieties of industrial hemp, and like especially back in Kentucky, you're going to see the variety that's more like the tall stalks
Textiles.
that's used for insulation, for dog bedding, you know, and like that, like Wayne, you saw that BMW, the interior of the BMW at the show. So I mean, they're using it for a lot of different things. They're not using the small marijuana looking plants for those. They're using the ones that have been almost hybridized to be the, you know, for the paper and stuff, to be the taller, leaner stalks that they can process for that. And you know, with those, they don't have to worry about pesticides and things like that.
It is an amazing plant in terms of the variety of different uses that you can make from different elements of it, from the roots, from the stems, from the you know, the leaves, from the flowers, from everything. So
the seeds, I buy hemp seeds and I use it to put it in my smoothies.
Yes.
So you know.
I do too. I love it. Also, the saying that the biggest thing right now, that the very first thing that they're seeing booming, that they're anticipating booming from the industrial hemp industry, is actually biofuels and plastics. Those are the two items that they say
at the Northern Colorado Hemp Expo that Don and I were both at, that she talked about. There was a group there that was using laser printers. And instead of using plastic to produce, they were using hemp oil, and that's a huge breakthrough, because that type of equipment is going to become the norm in manufacturing, and to be able to use a green alternative, which is what industrial hemp can be, is huge. So Don's right. The potential for alternatives to natural resource destroying types of chemicals, which we would have in many plastics, are huge. So again, topic. Yeah.
And I know
Absolutely.
that excites Wayne.
And
I
that
know
is
Wayne
an
gets
area
really
that Wayne
excited about that.
is
He's all
heavily
about
involved with
sustainability.
in his background that he didn't mention is the green
And I'm going to
space.
throw out, just because you said it, Mike, Power Nerd, Power On Nerd.
Mm-hmm.
You've had lots of really great questions. If you want to come on live
Yeah.
here, chat with Dawn and Mike, you can do that. There's a couple other folks that are on. Please jump on into a seat.
Yeah, just click on that open seat if you've never done it. If you're new to Flap, if you'd like, nobody's here but us four or us three right now. So if you want to come on and just have a chat.
Question was just raised. I don't know the answer. It says, wasn't the first car made with hemp? I don't know. That's a good.
No idea either. No question. Now, one thing that what's your name? Power On Nerd. Power On Nerd. Is it? I know it's not gadget crap. I like calling people by their name.
Brian. It's Brian.
Brian, you asked a question. You're new to medical cannabis. Unfortunately, not enough information provided from the medical community. You will hear very little from the medical community on what it treats.
Well, and there's a reason for that, though, because it is a Schedule I drug, because the FDA has not approved it, because the FDA has specifically noted that it is not even considered a dietary supplement. If you look into it, the FDA has specifically said this is not a dietary supplement. So for the doctors to bring it up, they can risk losing their license. Now in Colorado, there's a group called Colorado Cannabis Clinicians, and they are actually approved by the AMA to provide training for their CEU units, their continuous education units that doctors take, and every year they have to have a certain number of hours of education. They're actually an approved CEU provider to train medical physicians in the use of marijuana and how it works with other drugs. So how it affects radiation and chemotherapy, how it may lessen the effect of other pharmaceuticals. And so that way, little by little, the doctors are getting trained in how to at least be able to communicate with somebody who has said, I am going to take this, and just letting you know, do you know how it's going to affect the other medications I'm on? Also, there's a group, there's subgroups in lots of states that are specifically working with elderly people, and there's a group in Denver also to help them titrate off of their opioids and slowly increase the amount of THC and CBD to replace that, because as you know, with all the problems with overdosing with opioids, the receptor or the part of the brain that works with the opioids is right next to the part of the brain that controls your breathing, and so it's just so dangerous. When at the National Institute of Health Symposium, their neuroscience symposium on marijuana and cannabinoids, they were talking about that, and when we asked, can you compare the significant adverse effects in the studies of opioids to the significant adverse effects of cannabinoids?
Yeah, right.
How do you compare those? And they've just flat out said you can't compare them. Opioids can kill you. And and in this one study that they had, and these are neuroscience. These are neuroscientists. They don't necessarily like the CBDs, but they're trying to figure out a way to work with them more in a pharmaceutical sense. But they said when we used the cannabis, the cannabinoids, the side effects were the exact same as the placebo side effects.
Well,
and so the side effects for the opioids, the significant adverse effects for opioids, is death. So more and more, it's coming out. It's coming out. The new director of the FDA was there also and spoke, and it was pretty funny because he was up there and he's like, all right, and he is a medical doctor, of course. He said, just want to tell you up front, and you can go back and watch this again. It's so funny that you're going to see me physically holding back from saying certain things because of my new position, but I want you to hear that I know what you are saying. I know that
Well,
you're
I think
explaining
that
the
great
medical
strides are
benefits. We
being
hear
made,
you, and we are
and
working on it.
I think it's a wonderful, wonderful plant. It's a wonderful medicine. It's an amazing plant, and I think as we learn more about, Wayne just touched on some of the other benefits that have nothing to do with the medicinal side. It just is truly amazing. It'll be amazing to see it going forward. You know, not so long ago, 200 years, it was a major crop here in the United States, and we did a lot of things with hemp. And most of our paper was hemp made, or most of our textiles were made from hemp, and that all went away about 100 years, or maybe less, a little less than 100
It
years
wasn't
ago.
that long ago, Mike. It
Yeah.
wasn't even that long.
Yeah.
It was actually quite common. My mother was from Oklahoma during the Depression in the late 20s and into the 30s, and they grew hemp on their farm to make their fabrics into. And it was grown in combination with wheat and corn and other things that American farmers were growing. So
Exactly. Again, if anybody wants to jump in, Don, just a second. If anybody wants to jump in, there's an open seat. Just click on that open seat, and we'll let you in, and we can see your smiley, happy face, and you can ask Don all kinds of questions. One of the questions before you go on, Don, is what would a typical dosage of CBD for asthma be, for example? And I know why Teresa asked that, because she's asthmatic. And so I know that you can't give dosages per se, but what do you tell people like that? What do they start with?
Well, specifically for asthma, it needs to be inhaled. It needs to be vaporized, and we're actually, which will be exciting for you to know also, Mike, is we are about to come out with the oil in the pens, and so it would just be, therapeutic wise, I would go with the 500 milligrams of CBD in the vape pen rather than the 250. And then you inhale it, and a couple times a day. I use it in the morning and at night. But an important thing is to listen to your body, because literally you will know if you need more, and if you don't need more, then maybe take a little less. See how you feel. But that's one of the reasons why we're so adamant about the nanotechnology, is because that is a proper dosing. The tinctures and such aren't proper dosing because of the way your body metabolizes them. The nano gets into your bloodstream immediately. By vaporizing and inhaling it, that's another way to get it into your body immediately. It's not getting metabolized. It's not,
by the way,
losing the efficacy
those
of it
of you
because
that don't know, because
of
I am
your liver
asthmatic,
filtering
and
it
I've
out
been,
or anything.
those of you that follow our website, follow our blabs, you know that I've shared with you that my wife is fighting cancer, bladder cancer, and I've talked to Dawn many times, and we're getting a protocol for her, which includes cannabis. And one of the things that I learned, which I didn't understand, is with asthma particularly, how can you smoke something and put it into your lungs? How could that possibly help my lungs? Well, long story short, it can't. If you smoke something and start it on fire, you get all kinds of carcinogens. The term that she just said, and that many of you may or may not know, is vaping. And you hear that. You see people now vaping these vape cigarettes, or whatever, e-cigarettes, whatever they call them. Yeah. No, I'm not advocating those at all. But what this does is you can take the natural cannabis flower and put it in a vaporizer, and it literally heats it up to a temperature where it doesn't turn it into smoke. It's boiling off the cannabinoids, and they burn off the THC at a lower level than the CBDs. And CBDs, you have to burn at a little higher temperature to get it to boil and turn into a vapor. And it literally is a steam vapor from a boiling process. And when you inhale that in, there are none of the carcinogens that come with smoking. You put it in a bong, or you put it in a pipe, or you have a joint like you hear. You don't get any of those carcinogens by vaping, so that's very, very important. Now, that said, Don, we can't, if you're not in a state that's legal, you can't buy the concentrate in those non-states, can you? Can you buy the concentrate?
Well, we are
Okay.
now that this full spectrum is coming across into the states. Yes, you can.
Will those be
But
legal? Will those be
I'm
legal
going
in all
more
50
towards
states?
once our vape pens are ready. I'll
Ah,
be going straight to that. I'll be going. Yes, yes, they will. And here's the thing about asthma, and also actually there are some like with the bongs. One of the reasons that the bongs is not as bad as a joint is because of the water, and it cools it before it gets into your lungs. So just wanted to mention that. But sorry, but the okay. So one of the reasons that CBD works, and I only take CBD. I don't take THC because I'm just not a THC kind of gal. So it's just me. I think it's great for whoever wants it, but for me it's just not my thing. So one of the reasons that CBD works well with asthma is because one of the big things with asthma is the spasms in your bronchial tubes. And so it actually, the antispasmodic part of it, the anti-inflammatory, helps your lungs. Your bronchioles aren't spasming. The inflammation in your bronchial tubes, in your lungs, it's going down. And the only other part, so as my asthma doctor had mentioned to me, I have the spasms, I've got the inflammation, and then also I have problems with like postnasal drip
you
getting down
need,
and
Don,
around that. So
Don,
I
I
still
need
do
to get you
take
some
an
BioPro
allergy
Plus
pill at night
and
before I
do
go
away
to
with
bed.
those allergy
Um,
products.
mhm.
Seriously, I know I do. And afterwards, I've got your
You know,
address, and I'll get
you're
it to you.
probably right because I would love to not. I would love to not
Absolutely.
have. Okay, because I don't like taking things that aren't natural. I really don't. And then the other thing for me is the is acid. So I have to watch. I just make sure I don't eat things too late at night, like tomatoey type things. Because so that is why the CBD works. Is because the anti-inflammatory and anti-spasmodic properties of the cannabidiol and your lungs. And to breathe that in, it did not work when I was
Nice.
taking the nano or the tincture. It only works when I actually inhale it. And
Right.
also, so when we're talking about e-pens or e-cigs or vape pens or whichever you want to call it, you got to differentiate between the CBD ones, which there are several out there, and just the e-cigs. Make sure you're getting something with no nicotine. Make sure that it's all natural. Like for example, it can be just completely CBD with no filler. They don't taste that great. It tastes more like a cigarette. But there's that out there. And then there's some that'll have like the coconut, the organic coconut oil and or some terpenes in there for flavor to make it like lavender or whatever. And there's still some science out on the terpenes
Yeah.
on burning the
Sure.
terpenes and inhaling the terpenes. I mean, yes, it is plant-based, but so is tobacco. Tobacco's plant-based too. So there's still some of that out there that hasn't completely been fleshed out. So we will have some that are flavored that are terpenes, but we'll also have eventually we'll have the pure CBD too. And also like oh gosh, sometimes I get so frustrated. There's some big name cannabinoid companies out there that you would know the name like that if I said it, that have these e-cigs and they have 50 milligrams of CBD
What's
in it.
50 milligrams?
Like 50 milligrams.
Well, that's an interesting point.
What's 50 milligrams going to do for you? If you want it to help your endocannabinoid system, you really need to have something that's more like a 250 milligram, 500 milligram.
So when
50
you talk
milligrams,
about these
unless
vape
you're going to
pens
consume the whole thing in a
coming out,
day,
and you're
isn't
talking
going
about
to
the
do a whole lot
CBD,
for
and
you.
you said something like 500, is that per hit or draw or per vial? Okay, okay. And when you say take it a couple
Per
times a
vial.
day, when you mentioned,
Per
is
vial.
that, and that's
So
it? That's that simple.
one puff in the morning, one puff at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm doing the concentrate right now, which you're familiar with, where I had this tool, whatever called like a dipstick, and you turn it on, the coil turns red, you stick it in the concentrate, and you suck it up like a straw. You inhale it like through through that. And
lot
so
more
that's what I'm
convenient.
using until the vape pens come. But once the vape pens come, I'm going straight vape pen because that's a lot easier. And yeah, and for me, it'll get rid of a migraine in just minutes. It is amazing because I used to suffer really badly from migraines where this half of my face and like my arm would drop, like, you know, my tongue would go numb, and I'd lose depth perception and all that stuff. And when we were kids, my sister was having them, and they put her in the hospital because they thought she had a stroke. We found out, oh, it's just our migraines. So it's just the way our brains work or don't work. But I just really recommend that you do your research and find out. Just, you know, there are so many ways to help you naturally with the BioPlus, with cannabinoids, either a full spectrum cannabinoid with THC, a full spectrum without THC, or just straight cannabidiol. There's a lot of different options, and I know that there's not a lot of places that you can find good information, but the website that I'm working on right now, the CBD Talk Podcast.com, is going to have the videos, the links.
Could you give
every week
could
we're
you
going
give
to
us
have
that
a different
podcast?
specialist.
Could you give us that podcast again, or the address that we can go to? That?
It's a call-in. It's not a blog. Yeah, and it's one that you can phone in. It's not on Blab. It's CBD.
Maybe you can put that up,
podcast.
Teresa. Maybe you can put that up.
You
and
just
Brian.
Did. She just did.
So you get high from
great.
CBD. No
question there from Fredericks, Mike.
Yeah, you get.
Okay.
No problem.
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm
Frederick,
plugging in.
My
battery was dying.
We talked about it, but yeah, so you know that you get high from CBD. CBD alone, no, you do not. That comes from the THC, and so there are what we've been talking about, and what Dawn specializes in with her company is they manufacture and grow and produce only CBD only compounds, tinctures, different substances. They make some great body lotions and all kinds of things that have the CBD only in it that work wonderfully, by the way. You touched on it. Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Real quick, Mike and Dawn.
And for your pet too.
Teresa put up a web URL here. I just clicked on it and it's not working. Did she get the right URL for the podcast? She put CBD
let me just type it in because it's hard for me to see with the thing out here.
Actually,
that should be it. I wonder if let me go over here. Sometimes I've had problems
now
with
when I clicked on
working in with links
chat.
working in
so
Blab.
You're right. And when I clicked on the one that was put up on the fourth window, it didn't work, but this one worked just fine. So it worked just fine. That is the right URL.
I don't understand why that happens, but yeah.
Hi,
everybody. How are you? Welcome.
Oh.
Hi, Dawn. Hi.
Okie dokie. Thank you.
New to the here. Let me mute this so I don't.
Hi.
Get reverb on myself. Anyways, I'm new to the community of cannabis. I crushed 3 discs in my back about 7 years ago. Hold on one second. I need to switch over headphones. There's too much delay.
We hear you just wow. You're coming in really well, by the way.
Yeah, we're not hearing that, Brian, but that's fine.
There, maybe that'll work a little bit better. So about 7 years ago, I crushed 3 discs in my back. I've had migraines for the last 7 years in addition to those discs. And at the same time, I obviously gained a lot of weight, it's kind of played an effect in leading to depression. So about a month or so ago, my wife actually has kind of pushed me in this direction. And unfortunately, since there's not a lot of research done as far as my doctors go, they can only tell me, hey, this might work for you. I'm not quite sure. And unfortunately, I'm stuck kind of in a trial and error system. And I found this really interesting. I've just found Blab recently. So I'm new to the community. And
Welcome, by the way.
Thank you. And so the biggest issue is also I don't like the basically the head change that the THC provides. I want to still be able to function. I'm a father of 3, and I've basically for the last it was prior I was running a business, but now I'm a stay-at-home father. So I can't sit here and get high out of my mind and pass out and expect my kids not to wake up and them be choking to death or something. That would be very irresponsible of me. So I've been looking at other alternatives. I went to a neurologist for my migraines because they got so severe where like it was light sensitive to the point I couldn't, like literally I'd have to shut down. So as far as CBD goes, I tried to do my own research as far as figuring it out, but there's a wealth of information, a wealth of misinformation too out there. So it's like I'm trying to pick and choose between who's knowledgeable, who has the credentials to actually, have this, give you this information and be at least somewhat send you on the right path. So
I'll tell you, Brian, you came into the right room today. And
and let me comment first because I've got to jump off.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a quick comment for you, Brian, and then I'm going to jump off. The key, maybe you make sure you think about is you may not find something that works exactly for you in terms of causing an immediate or even long-term positive. What you really want to make sure you get is nothing that causes a short-term or a long-term negative. So you don't want something that's going to be, to where you have the pharmaceuticals where they spend 30 seconds or a minute giving all the things that can cause death, it can cause, all these other things. The way I understand it, and Dawn and Michael talk a lot more detail, there isn't any potential negative reaction that your body could have to CBD. Your body will regulate it and it'll get rid of it if it's not working for you. So there isn't the possibility for that negative. It might not work, and it's not, but you can't have that negative effect. And I'll kind of end with that and say goodbye to everybody. I've got to jump off. And as always, Don, you're awesome. Mike, you're awesome. And Brian, hopefully these guys will give you some great answers.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Wayne.
And I want to touch on the problem
I want to touch on the problem that I was having with the nano and the tincture was not with the CBD, because I'm doing the concentrate now with the CBD. It was with the organic coconut oil that I did not realize I was allergic to coconut. So that's the problem that I had. And so now they're doing it in olive oil form, but I said don't, because I'm just doing the concentrate. I'm vaporizing the concentrate because it's helping with my asthma. So here's what my husband, back in the late 80s, had a work accident and compressed 3 discs in his lower back. He could not walk.
I know exactly
the pain
what
was
you're
so
talking about.
excruciating. It was, and I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about. He still, so he at 55 is still having really bad back problems. So, and he is one of those, no, I'll tough it out kind of guys. I'm like, oh, God help me. So when he would wake up in the morning, his pain would be so bad that he wouldn't be able to stand up. And then it would slowly work out and slowly work out and slowly work out throughout the day until he went to bed, and then he'd wake up in the morning and start all over again. So like he would say, I would do the whole, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you are? And he said, well, typically on average, he'd be like at a 7 or 8 in the morning. I got him on the nano, and he takes the nano every morning. And when he wakes up now,
let me stop you
and
real
he's been
quick.
doing this for a couple
Explain
months
to
now.
Brian
It's at a 3.
and the rest of our audience
and I am
what you
nano.
mean when you say nano and versus
I don't.
concentrate and tincture. Most of them know nothing about this. I didn't know
no
anything
clue.
about it. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. The nano product, okay, so there's a process called nano encapsulation. Nano encapsulation was actually created a while ago for the pharmaceutical industry, but it was too strong to use in the pharmaceutical industry, because what it does is it takes whatever particle that you're nano encapsulating and it compresses it with, I think, like 18,000 pounds, I don't know, some ridiculous amount of pressure to make that molecule very small, so that as you ingest it or put it on your skin, it And like the nano that I was talking about with my husband,
I think she froze again, but
a liquid that you would
It'll
just
come
take a
back,
dropper
hopefully.
full and swallow. As you're swallowing it, it's getting taken into right away.
no, you
now we
kind of
can.
froze up there. We can hear
Oh,
you now.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Now we can.
yes, we can.
Oh no, can you hear me?
That's okay.
Can you hear me? I apologize. Okay, so the process of nanoencapsulation makes
No,
the
we're hearing
molecule
you.
so small that
we-
as you're
we can-
swallowing it, it's getting
Okay.
taken into your bloodstream. I'm thinking you're not hearing me. Oh, okay, because I can't see you guys, so that's why I was afraid. So because of that, it works immediately. The problem with that in the pharmaceutical industry is if you give somebody a nanoencapsulation of Vicodin, it could kill them because it would hit them immediately. And that kind of stuff needs to be, and the Percocet and the other things need to be spread out.
Brian, one of the things I was
Great
going to say is
for
that
things that
make sure
can't
you
hurt
follow
you,
Dawn,
like
and
CBD.
you can get in touch with
So
her
that
at mycbdcare.com. But also the company that she works for, Ambry Farms, has some amazing people there, some scientists. They have their own lab. They do a lot of wonderful, wonderful things in this area. And I can tell you, you mentioned something about getting a shot of, I don't know if it was cortisone, I think you wrote cortisol, but whatever it was in your neck, I would surely try this before ever trying something like that, because that deteriorates the joints. That'll ruin your discs even worse than they are.
Yeah, I've had the cortisone shots in the discs in my back. What's left of what's left of them.
Right.
But yeah, mine was the same thing. It was basically like an industrial accident, and and unfortunately, I ended up in the hospital for a period of time. And I literally, to discharge me, they just got me up on so many opioids. I was drooling as they wheeled me out and shoved me and said, "You know what? Your only option's back surgery. If you were going to wait until we see the inflammation, subside before we come in and make that determination."
good luck.
So after being to countless doctors and doing the same thing, they tell me the end result is surgery. And I had an actual friend, a really good friend for several years, go through almost identical time as me. He ended up injuring his back like 2 weeks prior to me. Same thing. It was an industrial accident, which was really kind of weird. He ended up going through the back surgery. I saw him go through opioid like addiction. Literally, he was blowing through a month's worth of Vicodin and Percocet and oxycodone in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. And I'm going, that is horrible. He went through the surgery and he's still not able to function. And now he's getting another surgery because his other discs that they fused above are now deteriorated because they're applying pressure or something. And I didn't want to go through that same situation. I didn't want to see that same outcome for myself, because I know that I've had family members that are older that had similar problems or surgeries on their back. And, they go, now that when they're 65, they're going, I really wish I didn't do that. And so now I'm stuck here doing this. And I'm literally, my wife, after everything, she goes, well, why don't you look at this? Because she's looking up all different alternative medicines, trying to figure it out. And I'm going, well, the last time I tried cannabis was, I was a teenager. I was in like the senior year of my high school, and I only did it a couple of times, and I went, this is not me.
Right.
But obviously the pain, the only thing that's been helping it is not even opioids, is been drinking. And I got to the point to where I was drinking every day to get literally the function to fall asleep at night because of the pain. I had my wife put on my socks. So that's why I'm.
And the nice thing about this plant, and Frederick, I will get to your question in just a second here. So let me finish here. But the nice thing about cannabis, for what you're talking about, number one, it's not addicting. Number two, for sleep, there probably isn't anything better. Alcohol can actually do the opposite in some cases. It can stimulate your brain in the wrong way, so that you don't sleep well, even though you get to sleep. Your body's not getting the sleep that it needs, the functional sleep, the rest and relaxation that your body needs to recover and recuperate, where you do get that with cannabis. Now, it might be something that, I don't know if you're in a legal state or not, Brian, where you can go to
I'm in California. Yeah, I've already went through the process, got the recommendation, got the card, did all this stuff. And I actually, for the first time, I went and did research, ended up buying a vape pen, like the actual, like, a nicer one that has a controlled temperature gauge. But I tried to do as much research, but there's not. I mean, even after I would say collectively at least 150 hours of reading, like just nonstop reading, and not just everything from public medical journals that I could find online by doctors. You know, yeah, exactly. And I literally I know I'm going, okay, well, CBD is gonna be the what solves the problem or addresses the issue for me. I don't really want the effects of THC, but all the dispensaries I've gone around here in San Diego, California, in Southern California, it's like a majority of them are all THC related. So I'm going in there and I'm trying to ask these bud tenders, or what I think that's what they're called now, but I'm trying to ask these individuals, what should I do? And they're basically, well, this will work for you. So I have like literally like 10 different strains. I don't even know what they are. Half the stuff they're like, well, I told them I don't want to be asleep.
It is very hard to find a high CBD, low THC strain. It's not easy. So I know what you're saying. And the bud tenders are not really schooled in that.
And so your website, you have a lot of the information regarding
on right now.
That education?
We're really focusing on the education. No, although we had the phone number on there. Now the CBD Talk podcast is going to have that because that's not associated with the company. So the FDA can't come and shut us down if we're not on that podcast. That website is going to be strictly educational. And because if we do it on any of our other sites that have products on there, FDA can shut us down.
That's one of the reasons, Brian, that we're doing this lab today. Because this will go on our website and people can go by and reference it and learn from it. And while I'm on that subject, Frederick asked the question, it's maybe off topic, can you answer this question later, but do you think CBD oils will have the ability to help people with ADD? I'm not sure if CBD helps neurological disorders, and I'm smiling. I know Don's smiling because absolutely, it absolutely works wonders with CBD or with ADD. It's an amazing product for that. Remember, the endocannabinoid system that all mammals have, and
anxiety.
Just recently, I mean, within the last 10 or 15 years, they even discovered this system within our body. Our brains, which is where ADD and any neurological disorder starts from, is in the brain. Well, all of our brain cells have receptors that accept cannabinoids. CBD being one of the most important ones as far as anti-inflammatory and those kind of things. It's amazing with ADD. They're doing studies with children now, and because CBD is allowed, more research is being done on that you don't see on the THC side. We know from studies that have been done overseas, in Israel, a lot of the information comes out of Israel. There's a lot of great information about cannabis and how it can work, and that's where, when I was going down my quest for my wife's journey with cancer, you know, I was told that it needs to be 4-to-1 ratio, 4 THC, one part CBD. I heard Rick Simpson oil, which a lot of you may have heard about, is 2-to-1, and now we know that in talking to Dawn and her people that in actuality, in most chronic diseases, you need that 1-to-1 ratio, but as we're learning more and more people don't want the THC effect, as you said, Brian. You don't want that high feeling. You've got to function. You've got to operate. And so the CBD alone, we're finding, is working miracles. It literally is working miracles. So it's one of those things I would encourage you, Brian, not to worry so much about finding the literature, or just try it. Number one, it's not expensive. Try it. And it's not going to hurt you. There is absolutely nothing that it can do. There's never been a case of overdose. You just can't. And there's no side effects. Maybe a good night's sleep would be the worst side effect, I think. that you could have from it. So I would just really encourage you.
Yeah. And so if you shoot me an email with Brian with your address, I should be getting more samples probably tomorrow. I will send you a
Okay.
sample of the Nano. Try it and see how it affects your pain. Now, it may or may not help your migraine. It does help my migraines, but to be honest, the vaporizing helps my migraine a lot better even than the Nano. So, but the Nano, as opposed to the tincture, is
Controlled.
a better way of dosing, because you can really determine how much you need over a short period of time because of the immediate absorption, rather than, well, I had a hamburger and so I'm metabolizing differently than I did yesterday when I had a salad, and it's cold outside and blah, blah, blah. So I always recommend the Nano whenever possible. It's a little bit more expensive, but the precision of dosage that you will be able to come to as you titrate up, or as you find out what your body needs, is worth it. Because if you treat it like a medicine, and really keep a log and find out how you're doing and what you
And
need,
another
you
question
can
came up.
really
Lori
take
asked,
care
would
of
you
yourself
recommend a
in a
tincture
wonderful
or
way
the
with that.
vape oil for ADD or ADHD? I know what I would say. Obviously, to me, go with the vaping, so that you can, again, control the dosage. Now, obviously, if it's a child that you're talking with, you would need to use one of the, and I would probably recommend, as Don just said, looking at their
That'd be a
product,
good.
which is a unique product. You're not going to find it, to my knowledge, anywhere else, and that's the nano technology CBD. Okay, I haven't seen it.
I think there's
Yeah.
2 more that do Nano, and I'm hoping all
Well,
companies go there. Yeah, Quicksilver is doing Nano also, and I can't remember the other one.
excellent.
Actually,
And
one of the
that's
big
the point,
companies
Don.
that you would know
We're
is
not here to
asking us to
promote
do
all the
Nano for
companies.
them.
We're here to promote your company. And so we want people watching this to get with you, and you've been more than generous to share your time. We're 15 minutes past the hour right now, and I don't know. I like to try and end it in an hour. Where are you at on your time? Do we have a few minutes, or do you need to go? Okay. Brian, you. Oh,
I'm good. Yeah,
yeah,
but
and we
I do
started to say
want to
that.
mention
Just so you
that
guys know,
don't forget those
we have a
pets.
whole pet line
Don't
of
forget,
our product,
pets have
BioPro
purpose too.
Plus, which we call Bio
Mhm.
Equalizer, that we're starting with horses, because my dad's an equine veterinarian and a partner in our company. So you can go on our website and read more about it. But what I was going to say is, I have 2 little dogs here at home, and they are anxious, and they have anxiety like you wouldn't believe, like separation anxiety. And so if we leave, they go crazy. When we come home, they go crazy. And we were talking with Dawn, and she sent me a couple little samples and 3 little things of the Nano, which I'm out and I got to get some more. I'll be buying some. But we were literally just putting a drop of this Nano on each of their food, morning and night, and it was amazing how they calmed down. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not making this up. It was just amazing how they calmed down. My little dog is a little Yorkie, literally only weighs 4 pounds, and he's got a real bad trachea issue, where he's coughing and hacking and all the time, and has trouble breathing because of it. It calmed it right down, where he wasn't doing it nearly as much. So there's something to this. Remember, the endocannabinoid system is in all mammals, and so any dogs, cats, anything can benefit from it. And there's some wonderful CBD pet products out there that are specifically made for pets. Well, bottom line is, any of these for humans you can use for pets, and it's like just smaller doses, because they're little. You don't want to wig them out, but
Just
again, it's not going to hurt
smaller
them.
dosage.
It really wouldn't hurt them. Maybe it'll put them to sleep, or
But you don't want to over medicate even with you know, like it's with anything for an animal, you don't want to alter them. I mean, yeah, it would just make them sleepy and stuff, but it's, you know, once you hit that, you're looking for homeostasis, and if you're going past that, then your body's got to bring it back down, and it will naturally. But I just the way I do it is the way Mike does it. Just start with a drop with a pet and see what happens, and then go to 2 drops if you need to. Go to 3 drops if you need to. Our Labradoodle gets like 8 drops in the morning because he was having problems getting up on the couch. Yes, our dogs are on the couch. It's true. But he wouldn't jump up on the couch. I'm like, well, that's weird. He always jumps up on the couch. So we put some nano in his food in the morning, and now he's back up on the couch again. I'm like, wait a minute, why did I do that? Why did I make it so he can get back up on the couch again?
I do have one. Go ahead.
Now I got a vacuum dog here.
I was just going to say,
but no, I mean, we want our pets feeling good, and also. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was just going to say, for the Missouri person, yes, it can ship in all 50 states. And
which
also,
is really nice, Lori. Take her up on that.
25,
maybe you can put that in the chat over there,
anything.
Teresa. Blab 25, and get a 25% discount on an order from her website, My CBD Care. Is that correct? Or yeah. So go to her website. Put in Blab 25 when you're checking out, and you're going to get that 25% discount. And Lori, believe me, that nano it would be a wonderful start for you with ADHD or ADD. I would definitely recommend you guys starting there, and they can ship it to you in Missouri. I don't know if you heard that. Go ahead, Brian.
I do have one. Yeah. Just one question. Sorry.
It is safe for kids, Lori. Absolutely. There's kids are really what happened was why CBD became to the forefront.
Oh, God, yes.
Because they realized that there was particularly kids with epilepsy and different seizure disorders. It was amazing. Kids that were having 200 or 300 seizures a day were down to 3, 4, 5, and sometimes 0 within a matter of weeks of being on CBD. It's an amazing product. It just really is.
Mm-hmm. And some of those big name companies that you hear about with that, like on the news and stuff, are getting a lot of their product from us.
So
absolutely.
So you just don't have to pay $1,000 for it.
Would you recommend?
Some people are making
would
a lot
you
of
recommend
money off
the
of it,
nano versus vaporized product, or?
Well, I would recommend, and that's a real interesting question, because things work better for different methods work better for different things. I have found that for the pain regulation, that the nano works really well, taking on a continual basis, every day, just to keep that, to create that homeostasis in your body. It did not work for my asthma. It prevented a lot of migraines, but because I used to get migraines all the time. And so the only time that I had to go beyond the nano with the concentrate is actually it was after I stopped taking the nano, come to think of it. It was when I realized that I thought I was allergic to the coconut oil, and then I just used the concentrate for it. So the nano for me prevented, when I was on it, the migraines. The concentrate, when I wasn't on it, got rid of it within minutes. Actually, it's terrible, but I was, and there's still that stigma. There's still that part in the back of my brain where Nancy Reagan's going, "This is your brain on drugs," So it's still back there. So I'm smoking this vape pen as I'm driving the hour and a half back up to the house. And I'm like, and I took like one big draw off of it. And I'm like, what am I doing? It's like, wait a minute, there's no THC in this. I don't have to be ashamed. I don't have to
and that's one of my biggest things is actually, it's kind of funny. The smell of cannabis, like when I go to a dispensary, makes me nauseous. Like most people say it cures nausea. It actually makes me nauseous. Smoking it makes me nauseous. So, I mean, or vaping it. And that's one of the things I've experienced. And I'm like going, what's going on? Why am I nauseous when everybody tells me it helps nausea?
Right, and different people, different bodies are they just work different ways. But truly, pain-wise,
Yeah.
and if you're getting your migraines from your pain, I'm really thinking the Nano is the way for you to go. And then, and the other thing is, it's great to start with one thing and see how it works. If you have breakthrough pain after that, that's when I would say try adding a high CBD, like a 0 THC, high CBD vape on top of it, and see how that works. But I would, especially for you, because you have an aversion to the smell of cannabis. It
Don,
doesn't have to smell like cannabis.
you're kind of breaking up. Can you
There's the
start
ones
over
like,
maybe? I missed a
like
bunch
we're
of that.
doing right now, and
Yeah.
we're doing for several companies. Oh, I'm sorry. So, okay, so do the Nano
Yeah, that's
first,
funny.
see if that works. If
We
you have
must be
breakthrough
past
pain,
our time limit because now you're
add
having all kinds
a
of
vape
trouble.
pen.
But
try it
he was
since
saying
you
start with the
haven't.
Nano. I got that.
Yeah.
If you're having breakthrough pain after
Okay.
that, then go with the concentrate. And the other thing is, Brian, vaping the straight pure CBD, no THC, you may not get that nauseous effect at all because it just isn't the same thing.
Yeah, and it's funny because years ago. Go ahead.
But call me. Yeah, my phone number is on, before this crashes on us. My phone number is on the mycbdcare.com
Awesome.
website.
Thank you
Call
so
me
much, Don.
if
I
you have any
appreciate this
questions.
channel.
That's
It
why
was
the phone
kind of
number's
just
there.
a miracle that I ran across it. So I new to the
Happens for a
community and I
reason.
popped on and I'm like, what is going on here? Is somebody like it's something throwing me right in this direction. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that you guys happen to be here, and I appreciate it, Mike, for your time.
Absolutely, Brian. Anytime we have these weekly, so you've already followed us, it looks like. So look for us again. And we every week we have one of these where we have a special guest and we talk about different alternative health practices or modalities, things that can help help you with your back pain and your injuries. So thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. And we'll see you soon.
I appreciate it too. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So Don, I think we've come to the end. I hope everybody's got their questions answered. Please, if you're watching this on replay, go to Don's website, mycbdcare.com. You'll see it over on the right side if you're watching this on our website in the chat. But please go there, look at her products. It has so much value. It is such an amazing product. It's not even a product, it's nature's medicine. And it's what nature intended for us to have and to help us. It's the oldest known medicine that I've been able to research, over 8,000 years old. There's history of cannabis being used as medicine as far back as 8,000 years. So it's there for a reason. It's here, part of us. We have this endocannabinoid system within our body for a reason. And if we put the right product or cannabis product, the right cannabinoid into our body, it will help our body achieve homeostasis. So, Don, do you have anything else you want to add before we call it a day?
I would just say that being able to get information on natural ways to help your body is very important, and do what you have to make yourself healthy. The BioPlus products are great. CBD is great. Just take charge of your body and don't be afraid to call people.
Absolutely.
The phone numbers on the website.
Don, I just wanted to say thank you again. You've been such a help in my life personally, with what my wife's going through. I just really appreciate your time today. It's exciting because, our whole thing at Alternative Health Concepts is helping your body heal itself naturally. We honestly believe, and I think the research is there now to prove show that the body is a self-regulating organism, and it will find the way it needs to be, and it will go there if you put the proper nutrition and you put some of these other things that are necessary because of our environment. We get so much toxins and different things coming into our bodies that that are, some of it's out of our control, a lot of it's in our control. If you take the time to understand what your body needs to get it into that state of homeostasis, like we've talked about many times today, the body can heal itself. And whether it's injury, severe injury like you had, Brian, or anything like that, or chronic disease like my wife has with cancer, or Lori talked about ADD, Frederick mentioned that, any of those things, the body is has the ability to heal itself from that. We have to give it the right nutrients, we have to give it the right supplements, and in this case, the right medicine, which is all natural and no side effects, like Big Pharma wants to give you, unlike Big Pharma wants to give you. So again, thank you, Don, so much. Really appreciate it. If you haven't been to our website, please do. Go to our website right under my name. Sign up for our blog. We put out 3 blogs a week, all alternative health related, all about alternative health. Sometimes it's recipes, sometimes it's just things that are going on in the world, and sometimes it's just announcing our weekly blab like you're getting today. So cannabis is to me the wave of the future. I think it's going to play a big part in shifting our medical system. I think it'll be a paradigm shift for our medical system, and I'm really looking forward to it and excited to be part of it. We are in talks, just so you know, with Dawn and her company, Ambry Gardens, to get their products on our website and start carrying those here. So we're excited about that, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to do this lab today, and I'm sure we'll be having a couple more as we get to the point where we actually launch it and put it on our website. So thank you for being here today, folks. Really appreciate it. Don, once again, thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, y'all.